Welcome to My Y, a podcast presented by your Crosse Area YMCA.
Hi, welcome to another episode of My Y. I'm Ken Cooper, and today, I guess I would call this a very special episode of My Y. We've talked to a lot of people that are members and people that work for the Y, but today we're going to talk to a gentleman who has been with the Y and really helped to create and form the Crosse Area YMCAs as we know them today. Bill Soper, who is going to be retiring after 31 years as the executive director. Probably one of the few people I know who comes in with a name tag and absolutely does not need a name tag. Bill Soper, welcome to My Y.
Thank you. Glad to be here this morning.
If you don't know what Bill Soper has done, I don't know where you have been for the last 30 or more years.
Yes.
So a little bit of your backstory. You were hired as the executive director of the Crosse Area Y in 1995. You were 31 years old?
Yes, I was.
So I'm going to hit you with a little perspective. Are you aware that you have spent half your life here at the Y?
I am. Yes.
How does that feel? Half your life? That's a pretty good half.
It's a good half. It's been a great half. Yeah. No, I've loved it. So I certainly, I think in 95, I wouldn't have expected to be here for 31 years. It was sort of in the YMCA, you were encouraged to move and move often if you wanted to, move on to that next maybe bigger job.
That's what you do.
That's what you do. But we fell in love here with the Y and the community and decided to stay.
Yeah. That happens a lot to people. That happened to me.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit of your backstory. I know you are originally from California, I think.
Yep. I grew up in San Diego, a suburb of San Diego, and when I was a teenager, I came home from school one day, and my dad said, "We're moving to North Dakota," and I was like,
"That's a big change."
Where? We went to the beach, and I was learning to surf and ride a skateboard and do all those things, and so ended up in North Dakota in a small town up there, and went to high school there, college in Fargo and Moorhead, and then started working for the YMCA of Fargo in 1984, doing Mighty Might basketball, which teaching 4-year-olds how to play basketball. I was playing college basketball at the time, so it felt like a good fit, and I was a day camp counselor the summer of '84, and that was my start. Just fell in love with the organization, and in '86, when I graduated college, I had a chance to move out to the YMCA of Delaware, and I worked out there as a youth sports director for 3.5 years, and then back to North Dakota. The executive director job opened in Jamestown, same town where I had gone to high school, and I was 26. I had a lot to learn, but I threw my name in the hat and got the job. And so, and we stayed in Jamestown for 5 years, and then came here to La Crosse in '95.
I'm curious how different the Bill Soper age 26 is from the Bill Soper today. Obviously a lot, I would think.
Yeah, like most people, if I knew then what I know now, right? But I learned quickly how to manage a board of directors, how to raise money, how to manage a YMCA. And honestly, my wife, Ellen, has been a fantastic associate CEO for the gosh, how many years is that then? 36 years I've been a CEO of a YMCA, and she's been there at every turn as well through all that. But boy, I've learned a lot, and even now we're doing a quiet phase of a capital campaign, and just 2 days ago I said, "Boy, I'm getting to be a pretty good fundraiser." Well, I'm at the end of my career now, so
of course, that's when you peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you were out east for a while as well.
Yep, I was with the YMCA of Delaware and ran all their youth sports programs at the Western branch out there. And when I got there, again, I had played college basketball, and their focus was soccer. So I get there, and we had a big soccer complex behind the Y. I think 1,200 kids in the soccer program. Well, I'd never played soccer. Didn't know how to line a soccer field, so I quickly learned all the ins and outs of soccer, offsides, all that good stuff. And but that was a great experience, and and then ended up back in in North Dakota for a few years.
Yeah. And your kids were born out east, or?
My oldest son Luke was born in Delaware, and his two younger brothers were born in Jamestown, North Dakota,
Okay.
and then my daughter Natalie was born here in La Crosse.
And they all live here now.
They all live here now. They all moved away and they all came back, which is just wonderful.
Doesn't that say something about La Crosse?
It does. It does. And all our grandkids are here. And so people have asked me what I'm going to do in my spare retirement time, and it'll be a lot of grandkid time for sure.
And staying here, I'm assuming.
And staying here. Yeah, we love it here.
Do you forget sometimes you're not a native of the area?
I do. I mean, I consider this home. We have for a long time now considered this home. And so, I know that, there's a lot of people that are from La Crosse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you hear that pretty frequently. But I feel like now after 31 years, we're from La Crosse. I don't consider anywhere else home, really. I consider home to be here.
So some of your, I guess I don't want to say achievements, but some of the things that have happened under your leadership of the Y, well, one of them is you've helped raise over $30 million.
Yes.
In your 31 years. Is that a good measure of your success, or?
I think it's one measurement, certainly. I think it's more a measurement of the Y's impact in the community, right? When I got here, we had about 4,400 members. And I remember the Doll Y at that time. We had 4,400 members. There was not a sign on the outside of the building, so you weren't sure, like, is this the public library? Is this what is this? And we had a lot of work to do to grow the organization and get families involved and get kids involved, and with those changes came people's confidence that the Y was going in a really good direction, and that allowed us to raise money to build. Our first big thing was, and that it took 10 years. We built the Onalaska Y, the Hauser Y, and we raised about $9 million, and we did feasibility study after study during those 10 years, and folks would come back and say, you can't raise enough money to build a building, keep focusing on the Doll Y. So we did that, and we did that. And we grew that membership to about 8,000. Then we raised the money and built the Hauser Y. That opened in 2006, and we had 8,000 members up there in about 6 months. And so that thing took off.
I think the way you just said that, I think sometimes we forget how difficult your job is, because you said we raised the money and then built the Hauser Y. Let's talk about the years and the effort that you put into, and a whole group of people, honestly, put into raising that money. Obviously, you were the leader of the group. Is it something you enjoy? Is it difficult? How hard is it?
I love it. The 4 years that we were raising money and building the Onalaska Y, probably the most rewarding 4 years of my career. Although it's all fun, we're doing it again now very quietly. But it's about, we work with a group called Donor by Design. They've helped us over the years on campaigns and so on. And what they say is it's all about leadership, and certainly is for us. Dave Scogan, Harry Dahl, Ron Hauser, Don Weber, those guys have been leaders of our campaigns over the years. And when I think back to that, building the Onalaska Y, I got a call one day on a Friday, and it was Dave Scogan. And I knew Dave a little bit, but I didn't know him well. And he said, hey, come over tomorrow. We're going to sit in my basement and talk about that possibility of a new YMCA. And then everything just took off, and he agreed to co-chair, and Harry agreed to co-chair, and then Ron Hauser got involved, and the Hauser family, and Ron flew us over to we were trying to get a grant from this is my favorite story maybe of my 31 years here. Ron offered to fly us over to the Kresge Foundation in Detroit on his jet, and so we meet out at the airport. We're sitting on the plane on the runway, and Ron says, do you want the high performance takeoff or a normal takeoff? And I'm thinking, and I can't do I can't do any amusement
Not a
park
roller
ride.
coaster guy?
Nothing. I'll get sick to my stomach. So we get out there on the airplane. Ron asks which takeoff we want. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what can this thing really do? I said, give us a high-performance takeoff. Well, as Ron tells the story, he called the tower up in Minneapolis and say, can we have no ceiling? Which means, whoosh. So down the runway we go, and what felt to me like straight up. And I was sick the rest of the day. So we're landing in Detroit, and Dave Scogan and Harry hand me a lid to a Krispy Kreme box and say, you cannot get sick in Ron's plane. Don't get sick, don't get sick. And we got to the Kresge Foundation. They ended up giving us $750,000 towards the Hauser Y. And so it ended up being a really great day and one of my longest days ever, right? Feeling not well on Ron's plane. But the way that group, those volunteers came together and the donors and so we raised about $9 million then. We came back a few years later and we built the Miracle Baseball Field, a field for kids with disabilities up on Alaska. So if kids are in wheelchairs or have walkers, there's a baseball field for them now. And then a few years later, we put additions on both Ys. We started partnering with Gunderson Health, now Amplify, in a really big way at both Ys. And we put an addition on 4 years ago, and now we're back at it. Planning for more renovations downtown at the Doll Y.
How are the donuts? The crispy, or was it an empty box of crispy?
All I cared about was the lid. I have no idea, Ken. Yeah, the lid was the important part to me.
Probably worth a little air sickness, I think.
Yeah. In fact, I talked to Ron last week, and he was reminiscing about that story. And I said, Ron, I'm not sure our relationship would have blossomed the way it did had I gotten sick in your plane that day. So, that was 21 or 22 years ago, and I was just getting to know Ron. So, yeah.
And I think one of the things that it seems to be one of the core values and part of the mission of the Y is that everybody is welcome and everybody is important. And I know that you've grown the membership has grown from, I think, just over 7,000 when you started to over 33,000 now.
Yes.
And there are hundreds of employees, right?
Part-time we have about 90 full-time employees and about, depending on the season, about 500 part-time employees.
Yeah. And I know we spend a lot of time talking about the donors and the big donors, and God bless them, we need them. But I think one of the things that I like about the Y is that person sitting at the front desk when I go over there later on tonight is just as important a part of the team.
Absolutely. And it's been fun to see that team grow. When I got here, I think our management team was 6 of us that sat around a table making decisions. And now that team is about 45 people, right, that help guide this organization. And it's been fun to see those folks grow. There's been employees who, Richie Johnson, I know who you talked to, and Jenny Meldy and Terry Brenner, who have been employees here the whole time I've been employees here almost. Richie's 28 years of my 31. And, to see people grow and see them change and see them impact the Y and the community has been really cool to watch that happen.
Yeah. Our La Crosse area Ys are not typical, are they?
We don't think so. I mean, we often call them trend-setting Ys. I mean, we have our food forest at the Doll Y. We were the first Y, I think, in the region to have a food forest. We have a mental health director that we've had for many, many years. We have community health workers. We served almost 500,000 meals out to the community last year. That's not necessarily typical YMCA work. Our youth center on the corner of 11th and Main, 11th and King, that's not necessarily typical. And so we've stuck our necks out over the years to say, let's see if we can not only figure out what's happening inside the walls of the Y, but let's impact the community and see if we can impact the community health. I would say, Ken, as I look back, you asked a question about the money raised and the measurement. The Y is such a great investment for donors. And I say that because we open at 5 a.m. We're open till 9 o'clock at night. We're open 7 days a week. Now we're 24/7. We serve kids 7 days a week. We are all ages, infants through. Joyce just celebrated her 100th birthday here a few weeks ago down at the Doll Y. We do so much and impact so many people, so many hours a week. I always say to donors that we're a great investment for them in terms of helping us change the community. And I think that's why a lot of people have jumped on as donors to the Y and helped us raise money over the years.
How do you think that philosophy, that La Crosse Area Y philosophy and that mission is, how is it seen outside the walls of the Y?
I think, certainly now we're viewed in a really credible way. We're at the table in the community talking about people's health. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about youth behaviors. And the Y is one of the organizations at the table now as an expert. And, we have staff who are experts in certain areas, and they're welcomed into those conversations now. And that wasn't always the case here. Don't get me wrong, this Y has been doing great things for 143 years in this community, but it certainly has changed the way that, with the community and the way the community has changed. And we're welcomed into those conversations now, which has been, again, really fun to see.
It sounds like you like to take risks with the different things. You said you're a trend-setting Y. You like to take risks. Is that been an important part of the success of the Y?
I think so. When we built the Onalaska Y, there was a little bit of, okay, this thing opened in August. Are we going to hit our membership targets by October? The banker was calling me every day, Bill, hey, only 5 more members than yesterday, right? And then by the end of that year, we had 8,000 new members in that facility. So, there was a little bit of, is this going to work? And certainly that's been, when we've added on, we've raised money to do things. There's been a little bit of, are these things going to work? And frankly, most everything has. And so again, we feel like we've wrapped our arms around the community, and we feel like the community has wrapped its arms around the Y and supported us in a huge way. And when I say support, I'm talking, the members who use our place every day. I'm talking about the donors who believe our work is really impactful and important in the community, and the partners we have out there. One of our, in fact, I framed it as our most important partnership, maybe in the Y's history here, is with Gunderson and now Amplify. They're in our downtown building in the Healthy Living Center. They're now doing physical therapy out of the Hauser Y up in Onalaska, and they're expanding and growing their scope of what they do in our facilities. And that has been a model that otherwise have come in to knock on our door and say, how are you making this work? And Gunderson and Amplify have been just wonderful partners over the years I've been here.
Could that 26-year-old first-time executive director, Bill Soper, have imagined a Y anything like this? Or did you always have big dreams?
I didn't have dreams this big, when I got here. Well, maybe I did. I don't know. I look back on that experience, and when we interviewed here, we had 3 little kids, and they had gotten the stomach flu during the 3 days that we were here. It was just like one thing. It was just like one challenge after another. And then when we drove out of town after the interviews, I said to my wife, well, it was nice to visit La Crosse. I did not expect. I was the youngest, probably least experienced of the people who interviewed for the job. But I got a call. Nancy Quinless called and said, we'd like to offer you the position. I was like, well, that is amazing. And so here we are. And it's been fun to dream, and it's been fun to dream alongside wonderful staff members, board members, donors. We have a trustee group that is just unbelievable. And they've made all this happen. And it's been fun to be part of it for sure.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what was the most challenging thing you've gone through, or the most challenging, or the most, where you were least sure?
I would say, and it's probably true of most organizations, the pandemic, right? And although that was just 5 or 6 years ago now, that was a laying off almost everybody, not knowing until some of these federal programs came in, like, how are we going to pay the bills, and how are we, and who do we keep on and who don't we, and who do we bring back and who don't we? Those were really hard decisions, and that would have been the most challenging during my time here for sure. But the community, when it was time to recover, that we recovered nicely, and the community jumped right back in. And Jim Warren, who's a longtime volunteer with us, was our board president at the time. He and I would talk every single day, and he was just fantastic on helping me manage what that whole 2 years looked like, because it was uncertainty for sure.
I think it was pretty frightening, actually.
It was. I mean, closing the doors for 2.5 months or however long that was scary, because you didn't know, okay, are they going to reopen? When are they going to reopen? What's all that going to look like? And so, but again, we had people who stepped up and helped us during that time in ways that I wouldn't have even dreamed of. So,
yeah. What are you most proud of after 31 years as executive director here, and throughout your whole career, and especially your time in La Crosse?
I guess here in La Crosse, I mean, I could point to a few things. I'm certainly proud of the opening of the Hauser Y 20 years ago, because that was a years in the making, and a lot of hard work on the part of a lot of people. And so I would say that I'm very proud of, but I'm also proud of when I look at the Y today and think, gosh, we serve more than 30,000 people a year now. And we've really wrapped our arms around the community, and we're in all these important conversations now, and we impact people's lives in ways that I wouldn't have thought 10 years ago that we'd be providing 500,000 meals out to the community. I mean, that just wasn't the why. And so I guess I'm proud of that. And then I'm proud of the staff team we've built. I feel really good about, on September 4th, leaving my keys on my desk and leaving, because we have a great team. And I've said to them for years, Ken, that, hey, if I slip on a grape tonight, you guys would be fine. You guys will do your thing and keep this place humming, and they will. And so I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss the relationships. I'm going to miss the friendships. I'm going to miss the activity and the buzz that the Y brings. But I also feel really good about where we're leaving it, the team, the volunteers, our trustees. They've got it good. It's in really good hands.
Do you have any advice for the next generation of the Y?
Stay focused on the changing needs of the community. I mean, that's really would be my advice. I mean, when I think back to, it was 20 years ago, we got involved in a project called Pioneering Healthier Communities. And that's when we started doing work. Like, there was if you walk around downtown La Crosse, you see bike racks that have the Y logo on them. And we did walking assessments of the community and all those kinds of things. And that's really when this growth took off. But that was us getting involved in the community rather than worrying only about what was happening inside the walls of the Y. And so I'd say to the next person and to the Y organization, keep listening to what the community needs, because our role is beyond what happens at the Dahl and Hauser Ys. It's what are we doing? What's our role out in the community, for sure.
Well, I definitely think that if someone is not a member of the Y, they know 2 or 3 people who are.
Yes. I mean, think about it. 1 in 3.5 Coulee Region residents are Y members or involved in some way. And that's phenomenal. I just, that growth has been fun to see.
Yeah.
Fun to see.
Yeah. What are you excited about?
I'm excited to not have to worry about the risks that come with running a YMCA, right? We have swimming pools full of kids, and we have Oh, so many things, right? And we have about 3,000 visits a day, and people coming and going from our buildings and so on. And all day long, we get electronic incident reports. Hey, this child fell, or this happened, or that happened. I'm looking forward to not worrying about those anymore. The next person can worry about, and listen, we have really safe swimming pools. Our aquatic directors and our aquatic staff do a phenomenal job keeping the pools safe for people. But we still throw 50 kids in the swimming pools in the afternoon for a variety of activities, and we have to make sure those kids are safe, right? And so all the risks that come with running a Y, I won't miss those things. I'm looking forward to spending time with my grandkids, and we're close, very close with them. And so I told my one of my sons that I'm going to take his son fishing on my first day when I'm free and not working anymore. We're going to go down below the spillway and see if we can catch some fish. And so I'm gonna definitely spend more time with my grandkids. And then my wife and I have things we want to do, and we don't really want to travel too much. I don't fit on airplanes well, right? So, if we travel, we'll drive and go see a few places. But there's a lot to do here in Wisconsin, here in La Crosse, and we're looking forward to just slowing down a little bit.
Sounds like this community has been pretty good to you.
The community has been phenomenal to me. Yeah, 31 years ago, I wouldn't have expected to live here forever, but we love it. And it's more special for us now with all of our kids here and grandkids. And I've gotten to, most of my grandkids have gone to childcare at the YMCA childcare center up at the Hauser Y. How many people get to bump into their kids dropping their grandkids off at childcare and getting to give them a hug in the morning before they go in? I mean, that's been true for me now for almost 10 years because I office out of the Onalaska Y, and it's been an amazing. I said to a board member last week, I can't believe you guys paid me to do this all these years. I mean, I know, right? Now that I'm done, I can say that, but it's been phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, I think on behalf of everybody at the Y, I think I'm safe in saying, and on behalf of everybody in this community, that you have also been very good for all of us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been fun.
Anything else? Any final words you'd like for us, Bill?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I appreciate the time this morning. This has been great.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
I know you've got some desk drawers to clean out and file cabinets. You want to take that off one last time, or are you going to keep that on?
I'm going to keep that on. I found this today, and so I hadn't worn it in a few years, and cleaning out a desk drawer, and there it was. Yeah.
Awesome. Good. So I knew who you were when you came in. That was
yes.
Good. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you, Bill. And thank you for listening and watching today with the podcast, where we get to know as much as we can about the La Crosse Area YMCAs. Oh, one final question. Are you going to be joining a pickleball team? Because you created a crazy furor over
I will
pickleball
definitely,
at the Y.
my wife and I will definitely be learning to play. I've played pickleball twice, and I stink at it, but I've only done it twice, but I feel like I'm decently athletic. I can probably figure out how to play pickleball.
Well, your Ys have some pretty good players.
We do. So I'm going to figure it out.
All right. Thanks, Bill. All right, that will wrap it up. Again, thanks for listening and watching, and be on the lookout for another episode of My Y.
We hope you've enjoyed My Y. Keep living healthy and strong with the La Crosse Area Family YMCA. See you next time.